Hey everyone, my name is Brittany and today I'm going to show you how to ice a cake. So let's get started. To begin, I'm going to start by leveling my cakes off. Whenever you bake your cakes, you're going to want them to be to the height of your pan. And then I'm just using the pan itself as a guide to make the cake level. Now I'm going to flip my cakes out of the pan. My parchment already came off. I also torte my cake or layer. So when you're layering your cake, you just want to find the middle of your side and then lightly score around the entire side of the cake. You just want to turn the cake very gently. Don't move your knife. And just do an even score all the way around. By not moving the hand that you have in the knife, it's going to help guarantee that it's going to be a straight line all the way around. And then once you meet that line on the other side, once you've gone all the way around, continue to turn it and follow that score that you've already made. And turn and cut, and turn and cut, and eventually you'll cut all the way through. And then you'll have your layer. And now you have 2 even layers of cake. Now this is going to be a 4-layer cake. I love a 4-layer cake, and of course you don't have to cut your cakes if you don't want to. But I just love the way it looks when you go to cut and eat the cake. I've got my chocolate buttercream already made up here. If you guys want to know the recipe for my chocolate buttercream, let me know down in the comments or give this video a thumbs up to let me know you want the recipe. I've put a little dab of icing underneath my cake, and that's going to help hold it together. That'll help keep it from shifting around while I'm icing the cake. Start off with a little glob of icing. Spread that evenly over the layer. You don't want it to be too thick, especially if you do the 4-layer cake. I've got a nice thin layer on there. Now I've got my next cake. Gentle press to get any air out that I might have in there. I'm going to do another nice little layer of icing. I've got a separate bowl here to clean off my offset spatula, which is what this is called. And any of the tools that I'm using to ice this cake today, I'll link down in the description box in case you would like them. But I'm using this in a separate bowl so that I can take my excess icing that I have touched the cake with that might have any crumbs, so I can gather that and re-put it onto this layer. You always want to have that separate bowl just in case, because you don't want to get crumbs in your cake where you don't want. So now it's time to ice the outside. So I'm going to start on the top. And I am just turning my cake as I'm icing to make it a little bit easier to go around the cake. You want to be mindful when you're icing your cake at this point not to be too generous on the icing, especially if you plan to top your cake with rosettes or any decorative icing that you want to do on top, or any piping. And then I've got a glob on the side of my hand. Some people do crumb coat their entire cake and then go in with icing, with more icing. And when I say crumb coat, you're just taking this same icing, doing a very thin film layer around your entire cake. You're like, we'll chill it, or you'll let it sit out so it'll develop like a skin, and then you'll go in to ice the rest of your cake, and that will help hold the crumbs to your cake. I honestly don't crumb coat anymore. I find that if you just take a big enough glob and do not actually touch your cake, you are good to go and don't need to crumb coat. And I'm just going to gently do this motion right here, this back and forth motion on the side of the cake. My offset spatula never actually touched the cake, but I was able to spread the icing. So that's what you want to do. And this is going to be a little heavy, but then we will smooth all of this out. You You also at this time want to wipe your board down, which I'm going to do in just a second, so you don't get any crumbs in your final layer. You want to make sure that when you're icing that your side layer is meeting this top layer. You want to make an edge there, so when you go to smooth all of this out, it makes a nice edge. I have a bowl here with some hot water, and I've got my bench scraper. Now the hot water is going to get my bench scraper nice and warm. But you don't want it to actually be wet. You just want the heat from the water. And like I said, if you don't have this, you can do your best with your spatula, or they're not that expensive. You can order one online, or you can find them at some specialty stores, or sometimes you can find them at Walmart, but not all the time. I would save my time and just buy it online. Find the place where you want to start smoothing your cake. I've got my bench scraper already resting against my cake. I'm going to start my hand right behind it, and then I'm going to turn my cake stand as I go to smooth. And you want to make sure that it's a nice, clean, smooth turn. That was my first one. And at this time, you can assess your cake to see if there are any spots that you need to fill in with icing. And I've got a couple spots, so I'm going to fill in right here. I'm going to fill in here. Now when you go to fill in, it does not have to be perfect or smooth. We're going to smooth this again. Get as much icing off your bench scraper as you can. Get it back in that hot water. Now look how smooth that is. The lip, I'm just going to wipe that down. And on every swipe, you want to wipe off the excess, every time. And if you leave any icing, if you leave too much icing on your spatula, when you go to do this, instead of it smoothing, it'll start picking up more icing and you'll ruin your edge. Now this particular cake, I am going to do a little design that I love. If you're having a time where you're having a rough moment with cakes, say you make cakes all the time, but for some reason you just can't get that cake smooth. It is just not working with you. Take your spatula, or a tiny offset spatula like this, or you can use a spoon. You can use the handle of a spoon or an actual spoon. And what you're going to do is you're going to start here on the side of your cake, press it in, and turn it. And then as you meet that around, you're just going to come up. Now how cute is that? I'm going to do the same thing for the top. The top, I'm going to start on the outside. And you don't want to press down hard. You just want to indent the cake gently. Just keep turning and going in, moving closer and closer to the center. And now you have the same swirl on top. So I'm going to start pressing and then slowly go around like that. And you want to snap it. I know we're doing a lot to this cake, y'all. I've got the design on the sides and on the top. I've got rosettes. But I also want to top it with a few chocolate chips. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It really supports my channel. And go ahead and subscribe if you would like to see more videos like this. I post every Friday. Thanks for watching.